Finish's mission statement for their recent range of Third Doctor adventures has been long, long, long stories. Earlier this year, we had The Annihilators, which was a 7-part story, but it was able to justify that runtime to an extent because it was also a multi-Doctor story. Not only that, but a multi-Doctor story that crossed over with Big Finish box sets with the Second Doctor and Jamie that literally have not happened yet. This was basically a backdoor pilot to the David Troughton Beyond War game set, which we've also talked about. And now they're following that up with the last Third Doctor set of the year with Kaleidoscope. This is a 6-part story, so it's not quite as long, but it is still equally as ambitious. It's a difficult story to try and summarize effectively because it genre hops, it format hops. It is a very fun and experimental 6-part story that sees the Third Doctor still working at UNIT with Sarah Jane and the Brigadier. So this is a season 11 story, and we know that this takes place after Death to the Daleks because Sarah Jane recognizes the name Dalek when it's name dropped at one point. And this is the story of Kaleidoscope, played by Jaron Howell, who is a alien creature, or maybe he's not, that's part of the mystery, who gets his name from the opening title credits of Doctor Who. You can see from the Big Finish artwork here, the kaleidoscopic artwork here, that's a part of his body. He travels through the time vortex, that's where he got his name from, Kaleidoscope. It's all very meta and very fun. So Kaleidoscope has landed on Earth in Hampstead Heath, or as he calls it, Hampstead of Heath. He's been interviewed by a different journalist. Sarah Jane did not get the scoop. Got interviewed by Jenny Nettles, played by Jasmine Hines, and taken to UNIT for questioning as to whether or not he is the genuine article or not. The story opens with him being interviewed by Jenny on live TV, whether or not he is an actual alien. He claims to be a visitor from the stars, trying to push peace on Earth, trying to be a proponent for a better future, but a lot of people don't believe him, and when you put soldiers in front of him, obviously they're going to come to odds, which is why it's time for the scientific advisor of UNIT to chat with Kaleidoscope. Let's play a clip.
More soldiers? No. No, you're not a soldier.
Well observed, my dear chap. You don't mind if we sit?
What are you?
This is the Doctor, UNIT's scientific advisor. I'm Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart, and I'm...
You're angry. I see the colours of anger all around you.
What? I beg your pardon?
The Brigadier is almost always a touch distempered. I shouldn't let it bother you. Quod erat demonstrandum, as my dear friend Euclid used to say.
I don't understand.
No, you wouldn't, would you?
Doctor, were you trying to catch him out?
Perhaps. The colours of anger, you said. Is that how you came by the name Kaleidoscope? Because you see in colours?
No. It was the word that came to me, that's all, as I fell through the tunnel.
Tunnel?
The space-time tunnel I travelled through. So many lights, so many colours. If you could see the colours I've seen, Brigadier, your mind would explode.
That reminds me. Let's check if we gave you a drugs test.
So Kaleidoscope is an interesting story to talk about when it comes to its plot because it genre hops and format hops. It starts as a rural investigation with nanobots and some weird underground bases, and then it becomes a Cold War drama. At one point it changes show, and I'm not talking about that in a meta sense. It literally changes the actual show that it is. It's no longer Doctor Who for an episode. It's got a brand new opening title. It's got some like TV commercial idents and stuff. It's a wild one. It's very fun and experimental. I get the sense that director Nicholas Briggs, who also did the music for this set as well, had a lot of fun putting together these extra elements for the story. That's the best way, I think, that Big Finish sets that are 6 parts or longer are able to justify that runtime. Because if it was just the adventures of the Doctor and Kaleidoscope for 6 parts, it would get a little bit difficult to retain your attention and also kind of justify a story of that length without making it absurdly overcomplicated. But with Kaleidoscope, they do find like a midway point, a midway break in which to completely pivot what you expect Kaleidoscope the story to be into a completely different direction, and it all works like all the best for it. Some of the other inspirations for the story, as you can probably tell from the cover, is Jerry Anderson, because this is a very Jerry Anderson type cover. You know, there's a lot of military procedure, there's a lot of intrigue and espionage that you might not expect from some Doctor Who action-centric stories, and the Third Doctor gets on a snowmobile at one point, which is a lot of fun. And the eagle-eyed of you in the chat as well might notice that, oh, my webcam's in the way, that the Whomobile makes its glorious Big Finish debut here as well. Obviously, Sarah Jane does not recognize the Whomobile when she spots it in Planet of the Spiders and she's given a ride, but she's not here for the majority of the story. I think Sadie Miller's actually a little bit underserved by this story, because the role of the rambunctious and forward-thinking journalist is given to Jenny Nettles, played by Jasmine Hines. It's a good role and she does really well, but I think that, you know, the story is kind of bending over backwards to make sure that Sarah Jane does not get in the Whomobile, otherwise she would, like, how does she not recognize it when she gets on it at the end of series 11? You know, there's a character cameo, and minor spoilers, I guess, but you can find this while looking in the cast list on the Big Finish website. Christopher Naylor appears as a doctor who is tasked with taking a forensic look at Kaleidoscope. Harry Sullivan, Christopher Naylor as Harry Sullivan is here as well, doing a terrific job, but he does not properly meet the Doctor or Sarah Jane. There's a lot of, it almost kind of reads from the outside as a little bit farcical, like, oh, once Harry Sullivan leaves the scene, now the Doctor's able to walk in now because these two can't meet before the events of Robot. And maybe those who are incredibly affectionate to Harry Sullivan might get upset with the idea that Harry Sullivan has examined aliens in his laboratory before the Fourth Doctor in Robot. You know, if you're really, really, really attached to that sort of internal consistency, then this box set might not be for you. But yeah, I think the only character who is kind of underserved here is Sarah Jane Smith. She doesn't really have that much to do here because Jenny Nettles has taken the journalist role. It's a good story for the Brigadier, though, especially when you throw in Daphne Green, who is leading this peace protest movement with all these women who sing Kumbaya outside of military bases, and she might be a former flame of the Brigadier. You know, shh, don't tell Doris, don't tell Dorothy, whatever her name was, I can't remember. Some really great moments. John Coleshaw is terrific. Tim Treloar, once again, top form as the Third Doctor. A lot of fun. But yeah, it's a fun romp. I enjoyed Kaleidoscope, but in terms of other like recent Third Doctor adventures, it was kind of lacking. I think that Jeroen Howell is really good as the titular Kaleidoscope. He's a good, you know, emotional anchor to base the story around. And I think once his deal has been revealed, the story goes into some really interesting directions in the last couple of episodes, and the Brigadier is especially allowed to flourish in that scenario, but it does deviate very drastically from where the story started. For me, that is part of this story's charm, and that's how you sort of elongate a story to be 6 episodes or longer. That works. But I also think that a story that's meant to be 6 episodes long probably should maybe have a little bit more to say and a little bit more under the hood, narratively speaking, than some really fun and well-observed meta-commentary on the nature of TV. And also, you know, just a lot of references to the end of the Third Doctor's era, like the Whomobile. I kind of wish that Kaleidoscope maybe made a few more bigger swings for the fences, that maybe it tried to push the envelope a little bit more emotionally, a little bit, you know, a lot more to say about the Cold War subject matter and how UNIT could play its role in that and extraterrestrial interference. There's a subplot with nanobots in the first half of the story that I genuinely don't have a clue how that was resolved. It seems to kind of like the story kind of stops halfway through, pivots, and then doesn't quite pick up the pieces from the first half of the story. I don't know, it sounds like I'm being harsher than I mean to. I did enjoy Kaleidoscope. There is a lot of fun to it. The cast are terrific, and the 1970s soundscape and the audio is terrific. You've also got Stephen Noonan, who's played the First Doctor recently for Big Finish, and he's been terrific. He plays a Russian general, and he's terrific in that role. But he also plays Keith Hazel, who is meant to be a sort of a Mick Jagger type pop star who gets brought in around halfway through the story, and that voice is so entertaining, is so fun, and I really, really enjoyed his performances in the Kaleidoscope box set. Kaleidoscope is solid, it's a good listen, it's an engaging 6-part. I just wish that maybe there was a little bit more to it. You know, I just wish that at 6 parts it maybe wanted to say a bit more. You know, it's fine. It's an enjoyable romp. It's a decent, I don't want to say throwaway, because this is a big 6-part, Big Finish production. But it's not like must listen like the Annihilators in terms of the implications for the Big Finish classic Doctor sets moving forward. It's not like Volume 8, which has got the Devil's Hoofprint, which is a top tier 10 out of 10 Third Doctor Big Finish story. It's fine. It's not a set that I think you should rush out for and immediately get. If the Third Doctor is your favourite Doctor, then yeah, rush out and get this set, and I think it's a priority listen. But if you are someone like me who's maybe a bit more indifferent to the Third Doctor's era, this is either a safe skip, or maybe get it a few years' time when it's on sale. It doesn't seem like the plot of Kaleidoscope is going to be having some sort of big impact on upcoming Third Doctor or any other Big Finish ranges in the future. It's a decent story. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.